Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Warcraft Rumble dungeon guide, I'm going to take a look at Deadmines on a Cenarion week, and especially this army for Ysera, who is probably the most interesting of the Cenarion leaders army building wise. First, let's take a quick look at the dungeon mechanics. We first post Mr. Smite, sabers and pistols, then anchors away. The theme of Deadmines generally is free stuff. Smite has free stuff. These are free. These are free, they respawn as well. These are free. There's also going to be a Stonehoof Torrent that's in stealth, that's going to come walk through this pipe and then attack your base. And all of that stuff is free. So you're fighting a bit of an uphill battle. The way I like to fight against Mr. Smite is that I like to take this stone. That means that most of the attacks are going to come from this direction. I also like to turn this arrow so that when I fight against the pushes that are coming from here, then my army, after it survives that, then it moves along here over the bridge, and I focus my assaults on Smite to come from here. And that also means that I have easy access to these two gold veins. This gold vein, I just completely abandoned that. I don't want to take this stone either, because if I take this stone, then Smite might start pushing to the other side, and I don't want that to happen. So just move over here, move over here. The Tauren, you can use Whelpex, for example, over here on the pipe, and then they will attack Tauren. You can also use chickens. Chickens are good against Tauren, chickens are good against Prowler. There's multiple alternatives on how you can do this. The second boss, Kuki, takes free stuff to the maximum, because Kuki has all of these squads of free units that it gets. First they come from this side, and then they start to attack you from here, and then they come from this side, gather here and start attacking from here. So they take turns coming from one side and the other, and all of this stuff is free and in addition to what Kuki has usually. For this one, there are 3 lanes. I typically want to take these 2 lanes. The order can differ a little bit, either this one first or this one first. I like to take these chests early, so I often turn these arrows and something to grab those chests, and I like to send a miner at the start, because there's this gold vein with 2 nuggets on it ready, and if you can send a miner out there, then you will get those instead of Kuki. Then you just need some way to handle these big swarms. It can be Living Bomb, Blizzard, Safe Pilot, Whelpex. There's a few alternatives how you can handle those, but some way to handle these and then grab some towers and then push at Kuki. One thing to note is that there's this arrow over here, and you know where the next free squad is going to come from. So it's a good idea to launch your pushes from the center, because then you can control where your push is going to go so that they don't just run straight into free minis, but they can actually get to Kuki. Finally, there's the third boss, Sneed, and Sneed is a really annoying boss where slight lapse in concentration can immediately lose you the game, because there are these 2 platforms. They are connected. When they are sparkly like this, then the next mini that steps on it is going to be destroyed, and 5 copies of that mini are going to come down this lane. And then the platforms go on a cooldown for a little while, and then after a little while they start sparkling again, and then again the next mini that comes is going to come in 5 copies. So you need to pay careful attention to the platforms, pay attention to what gets copied, maybe use some unbound minis so that they get copied instead of something like a Molten Giant. And another thing is that you want to control this bridge, because when the minis come down over here, if you have ranged minis on the bridge, then they can immediately shoot the newcomers before they can do anything. So that can help even if you face something like Molten Giants. Typical strategy against Sneed would involve taking this tower first, then taking this tower, then assaulting Sneed from here, or potentially just defending and then using Whelpex and Quillbore or something, unbound spam, to just kill Sneed while you're defending against everything that Sneed has to offer. So here is my army for Ysera. I'm still using the death ball strategy for Sneed, so I can ignore most of the copying and just kill Sneed before the copies become too relevant. So I have the Abomination, and then I have the Shaman with the Earth Shield talent to give Abomination armor, so the Abomination will be able to fight on better. But other than that, I made some changes because I found it hard to cycle fast enough to get to my living bombs every time with Ysera. I even considered taking away the recurring dream talent that I currently have equipped, because that just fills my hand with so much Ysera stuff. But I found Eclipse to be a wonderful substitute. So I'm using Eclipse, and then I'm using Defiance Bandits, Witch Doctor, and Whelp Eggs. So no chickens in this one, although I do still like chickens a lot in Deadmines in general. The Defiance Bandits can open some chests for me and really increase my gold income. I have Whelpex that are good against the Tauren in the first map, and then you can drop them on the big squads that are coming on Kuki, as well. I have Eclipse that can also be used to kill some of those big squads at Cookie, especially because you are going to kill the ranged fairly easily. And then there's going to be all those melee characters left, but Ysera has all those flying dragons and whelps, so those can handle the rest so quite nicely. And then I have a Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor especially good in the first map because it can give you shield, and shield means that Execute doesn't deal any damage to your Abomination, so it can really help keep your Abomination alive. So a little bit of a different take, taking full advantage of Ysera minis, all of those whelps and dragons that come from Ysera, even able to use a Cenarion slot with Eclipse, and still using the Death Ball for Sneed, because I just found that to be by far the easiest way to take down Sneed. And this is what it all looks like in action. So here we go, Ysera versus Mr. Smite. Just the basic Mr. Smite strategy. I'm going to try to take the rightmost stone here. I'm a little bit late, and that actually hurts because now those hexes are going to be used for almost nothing. Going to try to take that, and if I send any troops to the left, I want to turn the arrow so that they go over the bridge, and then keep the fight against Smite on the right side. Well, I didn't manage to take the stone immediately. I was a little bit slow there. Just dropping some moonfire around as well. The plan here is that I would want to get the stone. I'm not necessarily want to spend an Abomination to get it though, so I'm just sending this Abomination crew forward already. I'm trying to send some eggs against the Tauren. And when I get an opportunity, I will try to catch those. We'll try to get that stone. Here I'm using the Drake, the Emerald Drake a little bit, because there's no anti-air out there. I want to send my miner out there. So far so good. Because of the way I have played my minis, that entices the AI to also play on the left side for now. And that hopefully gives me an opening here. I could try to grab the stone with Whelpex again. But here I figured that I would have enough time that I don't have to spend the Whelpex there, and I can use the Whelpex for an offense, because Whelpex are not great when they take the stone, they just tend to sit there afterwards. And here we get a beautiful attack, and now I'm able to reinforce from the stone, because that's really how I like this to go. Attack against Smite and reinforce from the stone. This time the reinforcement was a little late, but everything worked out anyway. Next, we're up against Cookie. I really like to take the chests at the start and with bandits if I can, and also send that Cobalt Miner to the right to catch all of the gold there. So I'm getting some chests here. I'm trying to position this so that I will be able to get the armor on the Abomination, despite the Witch Doctor being around there. Witch Doctor maybe went a little bit too far ahead here though. I'm not sure that's okay. I have lots of Ysera minis, which means that I will have an easy time cycling the Sunfire, Moonfire, to whichever form I like. So here I used Sunfire, I also had the burn talent on that, so even more damage. And it killed most of the ranged units. Only one Mountaineer survived that. And that's looking good. I'm trying to send a little bit. I'm trying to send the Defiance Bandits to open the chests, and they do. And I was a little bit slow again. Now I'm trying to get a hold of the middle tower and the leftmost tower. That's the current plan. There we got the Witch Doctor shield going. I should send the miner. I really should. Well, maybe I shouldn't actually. But there, some burn. Eclipse, so much damage, so cheaply. It's just wonderful addition. Doesn't quite do what Living Bomb does, but it's definitely not too far. So we have a new contender for Deadmines, absolutely. And having it as uncommon is perfectly fine. And uncommon is something that you can get from the event right now. Alright, blasting through. And then I'm evaluating threats and whether I need to respond to those. And finally, the sleep is not particularly useful here, but just cycling it away from my hand. Getting another Abomination in. And here I really should have sent the bandits on. I should have sent the bandits for that. I should have cycled one mini. Now, bit of a fight for the tower. That's not particularly. There I also should have probably cycled to a Sunfire. But the Whelps are doing a fine job against the minis that cannot shoot here. I'm buying a little bit of time for the Whelps with the sleep. And then I can send my bandits, and meanwhile my Abominations are working on Cookie. And Cookie is taking a lot of damage. Now, of course, Cookie's patrols are coming in, so those are going to help it. To an extent, anyway. But here we have a good push going. Nothing too much against it. Looking good. Abomination can handle this. Abomination just hooking those mountaineers. And boom. Just securing the tower, so I won't lose the tower. Just making sure of that. Getting the push in. And now dropping some eggs out there for distraction. And working my way towards more healing. Or witch doctors. Getting some innovates. And just blasting Cookie with the burn as well. And Cookie is so going down. Boom. And finally there is Sneed with those annoying copy pads. I managed to get an Abomination in my opening hand, which is wonderful news. Really love that Abomination there. And getting some innovate, getting a bit of cycle. That was a little bit too close to the Abomination, but it actually ended up fine. It killed the safe pilot before any harm could be done. And then we're just blasting through. Firing away those, getting... I wonder if there was a positioning where I could have gotten the armor on the Abomination. That would have been useful, of course. But this should be good enough. Everything's looking okay. We're going to get that first tower. That's wonderful. We have some shields. That's great. Now there is a Molten Giant coming, and my Kobold was a little bit too early. And now the Molten Giant gets copied. But that is not a problem for me, because I have those Ysera flyers, and I have a very, very tanky Abomination with healing. So even with a group of... I should have cycled for the Sunfire again. Still making some mistakes with the new Eclipse. So, but yeah. The Ysera whelps, they also poison. Which means that... I mean, those giants just don't stand a chance. Abomination holds them in place long enough, and then they're going to get poisoned. I did lose a couple of Abominations in that fight, but overall it wasn't too bad. I still have enough time to keep working on building the Death Ball and getting the Death Ball attack in. No particular threats anywhere. Now the copy platforms are active. I have a Cobalt Miner that's going towards them. Looks like that Cobalt Miner is the one that's going to get copied. Oh, except that then it decided to come back all the way. Well, then it might not be the one that gets copied. Let's see. Might still make it in time. No, the whelp is too fast. But that's okay. The tower is building, and we are... Yes, safe pilot was just so it didn't hurt the tower, which means a second Abomination, a second Shaman. Copy pads were just active. They're not going to be able to copy the Abominations. Even if they were, that would not matter, because at this point you can afford to let the copy pads copy whatever, because you will win the race. So, like, there's a giant coming. I don't mind. I can ignore the giant. I'm winning this race. For sure. So, it does not matter to me that there are giants out there. With Ysera I could even sleep them for a while if I really thought it would be necessary. But at this point, with all of these troops in, all of that poison on Sneed is just so going to go down. Boom. And that was Deadmines with Ysera. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.